Okay, today we're playing a game on VoD. We are in the mid-plat SR range, and we will be playing McCree on defense and Tracer on attack. And our current team composition is Reinhardt, Zarya, Genji, McCree, Mercy, and Zenyatta. So it is as unremarkable as a team could possibly be. It reminds me of a simpler time back in like Season 2 through 4, where this is just what your team was, and the enemy team probably came at you with the same team comp, and that was how we liked it, damn it. We liked when our only tank was Reinhardt. Back before the dark times where Reinhardt was just like one of the worst tanks. Oh, how far we've come. So let's just start the game. So our team are doing the thing that I hate seeing people do right now. Or yeah, we're in like a 6-man right now, which is worth pointing out. Might only be a 5-man. There's a lot of mans, is the point. So our team is doing the thing that I hate seeing people do, where they're hanging out at the spawn, trying to get some cheesy points right at the start, where they risk dying for, you know. So we're hanging out up there, which was a cool time, but then Lucio came and booped us off, which was fucking rude, frankly. So now we've spotted Tracer. We're playing McCree, so we have an obligation to go and get the Tracer. Got hung up on the geometry, which is weird. I mean, awkward, not really weird. So Tracer just pops out in front of us, and we try to stun her, and then she recalls away. If Tracer just like pops out in front of you, you've got to be pretty confident that your reactions are A+ if you're going to catch the Tracer before she recalls away from you. And here's the thing. When you're playing McCree, after a certain point, when you climb high enough up the ladder, if you miss the flashbang on the Tracer's going to kill you now. Because suddenly, you're not very scary anymore, because you can't see her, so Tracer can actually just blink up right next to you and one-clip you. And Tracer is really hard to hit if you don't have the flashbang. So it's the point is you've got to be really confident you're going to catch her before she recalls away, because if you don't catch her before she recalls away and the Tracer is good, she's just going to come back and she's going to kill you, and you're going to have a hard time killing her unless you've got great aim, like really good aim, because Tracer's kind of hard to hit, as it turns out. It's kind of what her character is built around. I don't know if you knew. So now we're all the way back here. Our team's kind of losing control over the choke point, which is sad, because you don't really want the enemy team to get through the choke point on VoD, seeing as it's kind of the main point of the map. So Tracer's not looking at us right there. That was a pretty good opportunity to flashbang her, because she's not looking at us, so she's probably not thinking too deeply about it, and we could have probably killed her. Also, we could have aimed better and killed her, but that's not very helpful. So we've also, because we didn't kill the Tracer, this is kind of obtuse. This is kind of like not obvious to get to this point, because we didn't kill the Tracer, we actually killed Mercy. Because she ended up dying to Reinhardt, because Tracer, we had the opportunity to kill Tracer. Tracer goes in there, which forces Mercy out from her hiding hole, because she was scared of Tracer, and then Tracer ended up in, Mercy ended up in front of Reinhardt, and she ended up dying. So it's not immediately obvious, but us not killing the Tracer actually led to Mercy dying, which is kind of a big deal, because Mercy died right at the start of the fight, which is really bad. And it's not hard to imagine how that can completely change the outcome of a game, which it might have done. We don't know, because that happened in a parallel dimension, but yeah, we lose this checkpoint, we don't capture this checkpoint, not to spoil the surprise or anything, so it's possible that we had the opportunity to change the outcome of the game right there. So now, we're coming back. Things are not going well, is one way of putting it. Here's Tracer. We killed the Tracer this time, so that's great. However, we're losing a lot of momentum over here. We killed both of their tanks. Mercy has actually gotten back right now. And we're actually regaining control of the point rather miraculously. But then, it all falls apart very suddenly because, oh shit. So we also have an opportunity to kill D.Va right here, because Baby D.Va comes up right next to us while we're doing this, and we've got our flashbang. We can kill D.Va while dodging the explosion, which is kind of stressful, I get it, but McCree is actually really good at killing Baby D.Va if Baby D.Va has decided to use self-destruct, because you can just flashbang her and kill her, like, on your way to cover, basically. Or if you're already from within cover, ideally. So we could have killed Baby D.Va right there, which also could have mattered. Probably didn't in this case, but that can matter, because she dies, she doesn't get to get back in her mech, and she's dead, so that's pretty cool. So, that probably would not have mattered right there, but that can matter in a fight that's a little closer than that one. I mean, that fight was kind of close, but you get the idea. Not killing the Tracer was the big one, because that ended up that made us lose Mercy, and that ended up losing us so much tempo during the fight that it was really hard to recover. We almost did recover, but didn't quite pull it off, so God only knows what McCree's plan was back there. He had some big dreams for what he was going to make happen. So I don't recommend, like, this, because that can really easily happen. McCree is not very good at flanking, and that's not like a hardcore flank. That's basically a flanking ultimate. McCree is not very good at flanking. Would not recommend. Better off just being on top of the castle. Because if you're just, like, up here, that soldier doesn't get up there. This is the thing, we want to control this area so the enemy team doesn't get it, is, like, one thing. Also, just, like, being on high ground is really sick as McCree or soldier, because you're just really overpowered on high ground. We don't let soldier get up there, and then if we decide that we're going to use Deadeye, which we probably are going to at some point during the game, it's really hard for them to kill us, because we're on the high ground, and we have this giant zone of threat, because we're using Deadeye on the high ground, so you have a really large zone of threat. Don't ever recommend, like, flanking with Deadeye. Sometimes it works out, but probably only, like, once out of every, like, 30 games. Like, it's not exactly a consistent idea. So, we offended them off regardless. They don't get it inside the castle. You know, this replay is not overly long, so you can probably tell roughly how this goes. Yeah, like, getting in through the choke point on Eichenwald is really hard. And, they did, and we don't. It's just kind of how this map is, really. So, this is why you play McCree. Like, that is the best feeling in the universe right there. So, here's D.Va. We do just, like, throw the flashbang in her face immediately, which is not the greatest idea because, well, you don't really need to stun D.Va to hit her. And because we've chucked it at her immediately, we can't cancel the missile barrage, which is kind of a big deal. Because the missile barrage is like a big part of D.Va because it's like what makes D.Va kill people most of the time. So if you can interrupt it, that's usually pretty good. Also, we just like don't really need to stun D.Va to hit her, so we could have just saved it for something better, really. We also then like rubbed right up against the D.Va so that we could fan the hammer into her. Wouldn't recommend that because D.Va wants you to be right next to her because she has shotguns as weapons, and missile barrage is really easy to hit if you're touching D.Va. So I would recommend rolling away from the D.Va and just hitting her with left click, because also her head is fucking huge inside the mech, so you can just kind of kill her. Here we fan the hammer into the Winston. Unfortunately, we didn't have quite enough bullets loaded to kill him. I would have just used Deadeye, because, like, this is, like, how you get play of the game, basically. Also, Mercy is using Valkyrie, so Deadeye is really good at killing a Mercy out of Valkyrie. And you can argue that might end up being an overexpenditure of ultimates. Yeah, but, like, Deadeye is not a good ultimate, really. Like, it's, like, 6, 7 out of 10, right? It's no, like, Dragon Blade 9 out of 10, you know? Like, I would have used it basically to kill all of them. Because we all, like, unless Genji's gonna use Dragon Blade, and we're, like, in a 6-man, so we can kind of coordinate this better. If Genji's not gonna use Dragon Blade, we might as well use Deadeye, because that's the next best thing we got to combo into it, really. Because we saw that Earthshatter got comboed into it, and that wasn't enough to actually kill them, because that's just CCing them for a long time. We have to actually be able to do damage to kill them. I would have just used Deadeye to kill them in the Graviton, but Mercy also used Valkyrie, and trading Deadeye for Valkyrie is definitely worth it. Because Valkyrie is like a 9 out of 10 ultimate, whereas Deadeye is not a 9 out of 10 ultimate, so you're definitely trading up. Anyway, if YouTube would be so kind as to actually start playing again. So we get back out here, we're just going to use Deadeye right now. We don't do much with it except break D.Va's mech. By this point, the fight is basically already over by the time we arrive. There's only a couple of people actually still here. Try really hard to save the Zenyatta's life, but we don't quite do it. It's whatever, because we just wiped their team anyway, so Zenyatta's going to get back in time, so it doesn't matter, but it feels bad that he died. We came so close to saving him, but we didn't quite do it. So, Now we're just waiting for them to regroup, because they have to regroup right now. Standing on top of the parapet in the castle is, like, really obnoxious to deal with, if you're somebody like McCree or Soldier. So there goes Winston. We gotta rotate back around to get to the Winston. It is kind of scary to go up there, because this exact situation can happen, where if the enemy team goes underneath you, suddenly retreating is really hard, and this can end up happening to you. And honestly, like, it goes a lot better than it had any right to, because we get to slip down here, pick up some HP, and fortunately our team kind of killed everyone else, so we get to pop out and win the duel with the McCree, because, you know, we win by default because we were alive and he's dead. It was a bit of an extended duel, but we got there. So, if you're going to stand up on the castle, if the enemy's team starts going underneath the castle, you have to rotate really quickly so you don't get caught there. Or you can just go and stand on the archway above where we are right now, because if the enemy team pushes underneath past this point, you can just shoot into their back as they're trying to push into the payload as well. But because you don't want to get caught in the exact situation we got caught in. We're lucky to live. We also know if we died, it wouldn't have mattered, because our team won the fight anyway. Free chance to kill the Boostio right there. If a Boostio comes up to make this kind of play, kill him. Punish him. Because a Lucio is not really allowed to do this, but they all do it because they don't get punished for it. Flashbang this fool and punish him for it, because he should not be allowed to do that. So McCree tries to do that, he just gets pushed into the corner and killed. We saw he died in the kill feed, but we still went over there to check anyway, so we could have been faster with that one. Don't Deadeye right next to the enemy team, just like back up next to the door and use Deadeye over there so that you cover like this giant area. And the only way the enemy team can avoid Deadeye is if they gather up behind the payload, and then your team will just kill them. So don't do it like point blank like that, because you end up dying. So now we're going to go on to the Tracer segment, which, as we can see, is significantly shorter than the McCree segment. Yeah, we don't get through the choke point. I'm not a big fan of Tracer on Eichenwald, just because I find the getting through the choke point can be kind of harrowing at times as Tracer. It's also just that, like, Pharah's really good on this map. So it's just, I'm kind of like, well, yeah, I could pick Tracer. Or I could just pick Pharah, who is, like, one of the best heroes in the game on this map, because, at least for the first checkpoint. The rest of the map you can do, well, she's definitely not the best hero in the game on the third checkpoint. But she's, like, first checkpoint is, like, made for Pharah, basically. And then the second checkpoint is okay. So we try to go through this side, and we get into a scuffle with D.Va. There's basically no way D.Va ever kills us, because we are playing Tracer. So we just, like, go in on her, and we end up getting the kill. We go over here for the Bastion, but we have to recall away. However, they're losing a lot of tempo in this fight. Can you believe we don't capture this checkpoint? Like, can you believe we don't It's really sad. It happens, you know. We're coming in here to kill the Bastion, as obviously you would. It's just, sometimes you get pinned by the Reinhardt, who seemingly came out of nowhere. Obviously, he didn't come out of nowhere, and it's possible we could have reacted to it, but that's just the kind of thing that's going to happen to you sometimes. Can you believe we don't capture this checkpoint, considering how much tempo we had in that fight? Can you believe we don't capture it? And now we're back again, and like, we're winning this fight as well, right? We lob the pulse bomb over here, we stick it to the Reinhardt, which might have actually saved someone from getting pinned. Can you believe we don't capture this checkpoint? Like, it's just a case of them, like, just barely stalling it out. Because, like, they've been losing this fight handedly for a long time. And now we've, like, got the point. And it's like, you're telling me we don't capture this point? Yeah, we don't capture this point. Like, if you can believe it. They managed to just barely stall it out. So we have seen that their Mercy is back, because we saw her tether coming out of the gateway. We should have been trying to more actively get to their Mercy, because now our Mercy's dead. Their Mercy is not dead, and their Mercy's just used Valkyrie. And now this is the point where where you're like, yeah, okay, so we don't capture the point, because they came back just in time to get these ultimates off. we lost our Mercy, they didn't lose their Mercy, and, like, we have so many ultimates! Isn't it sad? Like, maybe if we go a little harder on their Mercy and kill her before she can get the Valkyrie off, maybe it goes better. We're playing Tracer, so we're not really good at defending people, but, like, if our Mercy survived slightly longer as well, we would have probably won. But, like, isn't it incredible? And now we're coming in with 6 ultimates. We're coming in with 6 ultimates right now, after they just used a bunch of ultimates. And we're not gonna capture this checkpoint. So, Junkrat is very scary to Tracer, because he always has a mine active. So it's really easy to just get killed by Junkrat. And here comes the death by Junkrat, for different reasons, but, yeah. It's alright, Mercy's here, she revives us. And we are going to try and stick it onto the Reinhardt. Don't recommend it, because, like, it doesn't kill Reinhardt straight up. If you're going to try and stick a tank, you got to be certain that you're going to hit the tank and that you've got follow-up damage on the tank, because it doesn't kill any tank baseline. Even Orisa, because of her bubble. Like, that, not her bubble. What am I talking about? That's Zarya I'm thinking of. Doesn't kill Orisa because of Fortify. So, like, you've got to be able to do damage to the tank as well, and you got to be really confident you're gonna stick the tank as well. Which is not generally hard, but, you know, it's better, for my money, it's better to just, like, stick stickies with it, stick squishies with it, stick stickies with it, Jesus fucking Christ. Stick squishies with it, because that's kind of what it's designed to do, is just pick off backline people really quickly. You only really want to stick a tank if, like, there's nothing better to stick it with at the time. So we end up getting killed by Junkrat. It's really easy to die to Junkrat as Tracer. Like, you basically just have to really be paying attention to Junkrat so that you don't get killed by him. And you have to be careful about approaching Junkrat. You have to be careful about navigating the area near Junkrat, because his trap's gonna be there, and, like, if you get directly hit by something, you're basically dead. It's really hard to play Tracer against Junkrat, because it's so easy to just accidentally die. Which is a weird, like, is a weird way to phrase that, I get, but you know what I mean. So, yeah, we don't capture this checkpoint, and, like, at this point, we aren't gonna. Really, unless, like, they fuck up a fight really badly, or we have a miracle play. But as you can see, we just lost both of our supports in the kill feed right now, so we're gonna lose this fight. This is how it is. We've just lost both of our supports right at the start of the fight. You lose that fight, it's just how it is. We try to, like, get around, but there's just, like, really no way. Isn't it incredible? You know? It's like, on paper, there's no reason we should have failed to capture this checkpoint. It's just, like, it went very slightly wrong. And any, like, one thing could have completely changed it, really. I do think the biggest opportunity that we had to swing this game... Like, we don't capture this checkpoint. Like, you know, we're touching the point because we have to touch the point right now. Like, we're fucked. I do think the biggest opportunity we had to change the outcome of this game was killing the Tracer in, round 1. Because that ended up losing Mercy, which ended up losing to a lot of tempo. And it's possible we lose the checkpoint anyway after that point. But, like, that was such a big tempo loss that it ended up basically being the reason we did lose the checkpoint. That's, like, that was, like, the moment that stood out to me is, like, yeah, this is probably where we lost the game. Or, like, failed to draw, at the very least. And then it's, like, the last fight. Really, we should have been, like, trying to get their backline more actively, because we kind of weren't trying really hard to kill their backline as Tracer. And that's what Tracer is really good at, pressuring the backline, and we, like, weren't super focused on doing that. We only ever stuck the Reinhardt as well, and, like, the point of this pulse bomb is kind of just, like, to pick off people really quickly. And, like, you can pick off a tank really quickly, but like, everything kind of has to line up for that one. Whereas if you just stick a Mercy, Mercy's dead, barring divine intervention from a Zarya, right? So, I do think the missed kill on Tracer was, like, the moment in the game that, like, probably determined the outcome. But then, like, the Tracer round as well, we could have just been, like... We weren't trying to do what Tracer is really good at, which was also bad, but the missing the kill on the Tracer was, like, the moment for me in this game. So, thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer, and I hope you found the video helpful.